just fucking drug everybody. I think that is sort of
Yannis 2024.
Yeah, I mean that would be what we need right now, but now it's hard to drop Klonopin in every bottle of water.
Privately
You
owned.
got to get people drinking from the faucet again.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
I had no prior knowledge of the planned assault on Nancy Kerrigan.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Oops the Podcast. Giulio Gallerati, joined by Ryan Lynch here in the studio, doing our thing, doing it big. Come see me this weekend, Royal Theatre, Toronto. Looking forward to that Saturday night. But without further ado, we have a special guest in the studio today. Hilarious comedian. He has multiple specials, both on YouTube. He had one on Comedy Central. He is a trailblazer of character work and stand-up, and just ripping it on the pod circuit. Please give it up for Yannis Pappas, everybody.
I don't know why this couch makes me feel Asian.
Maybe
it's because you guys have no shoes on and we're so low to the ground.
This table is also low.
Should I have taken my shoes off?
No, you're good.
Is
Whatever you
sushi
want to
going to
do.
be served?
We're not a shoes off household, but
Okay.
that's funny.
All right.
Yeah, that is a first, dude. That's
Yeah.
the first time anybody has commented on
I mean,
that.
we're very low to the ground.
The low
here.
nature
yeah,
of the...
Yeah, I feel like I'm sitting on the bench of a basketball team. This makes me feel very tall.
That's good.
And it is what Shaquille O'Neal feels like when he goes to anyone's house for dinner.
Right.
Because they can't accommodate the furniture for him. So he goes to a lot of normal sized people's homes, and he just has to sit like this.
To what degree is he not able to participate in certain gatherings, do you think?
Yeah, I don't think he can't participate in I don't think he can fully participate in sex because he only has to put a quarter of it in before you kill someone.
It's got to be gigantic.
I mean, it's got to be it's probably like Goldilocks. He probably tried to fit it in a lot of women, and they're just like, it's too big. It's too big. And then he found one woman who could take a full thrust, and he married her. I mean, his dick must be the size of, a little person. It could be Brad Williams. I mean, if you put Brad Williams and his dick in a police sketch, the only thing, it would be the same height.
Shaq is 7'1". His wife is 5'7".
Right, is she the Asian?
She's the size of his dick.
She's
Yeah.
Seeing them stand next to each other is crazy.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shocking.
From a distance, you're like, you'd want to arrest him for pedophilia. You're like, why is he with that child?
Dude.
Yeah.
He's a legend. Have you ever seen him DJ?
Yes, I've seen him DJ.
What is that? That is a crazy thing.
Yeah. Ronnie Cycli's a DJ too. I don't know how much of a basketball fan you are.
Dude,
I love Ronnie Cycli.
love Ronnie Cycli's Instagram account.
Yeah.
There are certain where his wife's standing behind him and he's doing a little that I'll watch on repeat and then I send to my friends.
Yeah. I'm a big Ronnie Cycli fan. When I was younger, I was told he was Greek, so I thought he was Greek. He's actually Lebanese, but he lived in Greece for a while. So he was the closest thing to a Greek player I had growing up. And then when he became a DJ, I just dig his tunes. I mean, it's he lives that lounge life, bro. He's got that music
He's
where
killing it.
You go into a place and you sit down and you party like a paraplegic. You just sit, bob your head. It's you eat hors d'oeuvres. There's appetizers, champagne, models. It's not like dancing. Nobody's getting shot. Everyone's fucking chilling. He's Miami to the bone, man.
He is bougie, dude.
Yeah.
But it's true. I actually thought he was Greek too.
Yeah.
And then I realized he was Lebanese not long ago.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah, he's Lebanese.
Which is interesting. And I remember seeing, dude, did you watch that thing, the Orlando Magic? It might have been a 30 for 30 or some kind of thing.
Penny and Shaq.
I remember when they were talking about, I think Ronnie Cycli was on the Magic for a moment.
Yes, he
and
was.
nobody liked him because he was all sexy. Who's this sexy fucking guy?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that that was his MO, that he's this international playboy.
Yeah, he was a good looking guy, and I think he's like a god in Lebanon.
He has to be.
It's cool to be one of those players from those countries. It's cool to be the 117th best player in the NBA, but you're the number one best player from Estonia. And then you go back to Estonia and they're just
totally.
It's
you're a god.
Yeah, it's like Genghis Khan coming back from conquering. They're just women are just you're just getting blown underneath the parade float, and women are offering human sacrifices to you. I mean, that's why Porzingis probably sexually assaulted that
Right.
girl. He's probably just used to.
Does he have a charge
Yeah,
against
he's
him?
got one.
He's Lithuanian?
He's
a-
Estonian. I
He
believe.
is? Okay.
Yeah.
I knew he was like a Baltic.
Yeah.
Something. That is
One of those fucking. One of
Yeah,
those. One of those
He's
countries.
Latvian.
Latvian.
One of those
The
countries where
third
you're
one.
like, are they white? Yeah, I guess they are white. Depends on what part of town you are. They're white in like Sunset Park if Puerto Ricans are around, but if you go to like Connecticut, if you go to like Greenwich, they're like, oh my God, there's a non-white here. Like me and you are white depending on who's around.
It depends, yes.
When he's around, we're black.
In
We look like swarthy fucking Bulgarian. We should be wearing tracksuits and weird European Adidas.
That's hilarious. We
Yeah.
sell shit on the side of the road. They're like, how much? We're like, for you?
Yeah.
For you?
Yeah. I mean,
$5.
you got one of those like CIA faces, bro.
I do?
They can put you anywhere. If you grew a beard, you're fucking Afghani. Yeah.
Dude, well-
you look Jewish, you look Egyptian, Puerto Rican. Yeah.
It sucks that we don't get to benefit from that.
Yeah.
We are white in our industry.
Yeah.
We're straight white men in our industry.
Yeah, that's why I do grow the beard.
We-
Yeah, and that's why I do Latin characters.
But you're more ethnically ambiguous than me,
Yeah.
right? What do you think, Lynch?
Yeah, you're the arbiter of this.
The arbiter.
If you went to the judge of what's white,
Who is more,
you would look like that.
who's whiter?
I think you're whiter.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Interesting.
Well, since you pointed out all of the ethnicities that Giulio could represent, yeah.
Which one of us makes you more nauseous? By looking at us. Like, I know it's deep in there. Are you Germanic or what are you?
I'm German, Polish, Irish.
Yeah. So there's a little party that wants to expunge us.
If I had to pick between the two of you, I'd say you.
Yeah, you'd expunge me.
Yeah.
I'm a little more swarthy.
You feel
'cause
more
of the
comfortable
beard.
with me around
Yeah.
your sister.
Yeah. If
Yes.
I shaved, it would be a tie, I think. Yeah.
Yes, if you shaved.
Yeah.
It's the
I'm
beard.
reminding you of like a Romy, kind of Romani, kind of gypsy kind of look. You just want to clean the streets with. You just
I
want
wouldn't
to clean
say
the
gypsy,
streets.
but yeah, somewhere
A little
around
bit.
there.
Yeah.
Strikes
Little
that
bit.
nerve
I'm
a
going in
little
a ditch. You see those brutal old World War II footage of just like
Dude.
fucking gypsies and Jews in ditches, and they're just like
so
the Germans
sad.
are just, we're cleaning, everything's being cleaned. And they're like, da, 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 da.
Dude, yeah. The new one of those just came out, by the way. World War II in
A
color.
new ditch killing?
I don't know specifically the ditch that's covered, but it's
A new World War II.
a new World War II. No, like in color documentary.
Oh.
It's very much like. Did you watch any of those?
Yeah, dude, genocide when it's in black and white just doesn't hit
hit
right.
the same.
Doesn't hit the
quite
same,
hit the
dude. It's,
same.
when they colorize it, you're like, all right, this is the this is the joint. This is the joint right here. This is the joint.
Well, dude, yeah, it's funny. Like there are parts, even in Italy, like Europeans are much more racist than Americans.
Oh, dude.
Which is like very underappreciated fact.
I love when they give us shit. And
I
they're
know,
like, and
I
then
know.
you go watch their soccer games, and they have a whole Nazi section,
Dude.
like a whole Nazi section of the soccer field, would just be like, how, and you're like, oh yeah, that's just our right wing party.
And you're
You're like,
okay.
our right wing party wants small government and Jesus. We don't want.
Right.
We're not allowed to do that.
No, we're not. Dude, no, it's true. And even if you look at the like fucked up messages that athletes get when they like don't cover their point spread or something,
Yeah.
like the European DMs, you can clearly tell because it's like English isn't their first language.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're just sending like every offensive emoji that you could ever imagine.
Yeah.
I'm a big tennis fan. These guys, bro, they'll be ranked 200 in the world. They make like $80,000 a year and it all goes towards their expensive. And then they're getting those DMs when they lose a match.
Yeah,
too.
it's brutal.
Brutal, dude.
Brutal. Yeah, I'm a big tennis fan too. I wonder what Monfils has to go through.
Oh my God. Forget about it.
I remember hearing stories about when Dominique Wilkins played in Greece, they would throw bananas onto the court.
My God,
And
dude.
they did that in soccer too. Another French player, they threw bananas, and you're going like, guys, before you yell at us, maybe you want to.
It's terrible.
Maybe you want to give these guys a talking to, or at least, or I don't know.
Yeah, it's
Maybe,
true.
you know, if they walk in like with just a swastika on their leather jacket, maybe no. Maybe they're not allowed in. Maybe I don't know.
In the NBA, you're kicked out for screaming "fuck you" to like
Yeah.
a Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, they'll kick you out, let alone a hell. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, European soccer is basically is to sports what Elon Musk's X is to social media. You're just allowed to You're just allowed to let it fly on NWO. Elon's new. Yeah. He went NWO, didn't he? He was Hulk Hogan. Now he's Hollywood Hogan.
Why did he change it?
Because he's slowly losing his mind, and that's why he's doing live chats with Andrew Tate. And
did that happen?
Yeah, Alex Jones.
Stop.
And randomly Dave Smith, and they're talking about the Matrix, and it's like, guy, you're like we're supposed to be saving us from climate change, and now you're like allowing fucking anti-Semitism and hate speech on X.
And Alex Jones was banned from Twitter before he acquired it, and then he put out like a poll, and it was like, should I let Alex Jones back onto Twitter? And then he just let people decide, and then the majority voted yes, and then he ended up in the Spaces a couple nights ago.
Yeah, that's right.
It's insane. He just let him in.
Yeah, it's almost like watching in real time why direct democracy doesn't work. You're going like, wait, not everyone can. We can't let everybody decide. We gotta at least can we elect some representatives who pretend like they represent us, but they really represent the elites, and that's fine because
which is the thing,
they want to keep all of us out of their foyer. They don't want us to storm their houses. Mm-hmm. And pretty soon, Greenwich, Connecticut will be stormed.
Well, dude, I always hope that like at some point Elon is going to prove that he's known what he's doing all along. Yeah. But it seems like that's more and more kind of distant of a hope as time goes on.
Yeah, it seems like what happens? Like when you have that much money, what happens? What happens? Like, can Bill Gates enjoy a meal anymore? Like when I go to like Le Cirque or I go to Carbone or something, it feels like, oh, this is a special night out, right? Mm-hmm. I'm getting great food. Mm-hmm. It's like what he has for lunch every single day. So then you got to up it. Like he's banging his wife. He can't, like when he knows he can just pay for silence, for everything. I mean, eventually you find yourself when you're that rich on a private reserve in Africa, just shooting cheetahs. And then the next thing you know, you're probably going to the Appalachian Mountains and throwing a toothless inbred off of a hill to feel, right? Like you just have to feel.
It's like Hostel.
Yeah, there's got to be places in South America where those guys secretly go and they just pay, and some cartel member just gives them a woman, and they just throw them off cliffs, and they kind of jack off as the woman's falling down, just so they can feel something, man. Yeah.
Dude, yeah.
But that's his reality. Like people, when you have making like $1 million a day, $2 million a day, you're so fucking warped. Like, you know?
I'm sure. I think about this all the time. I like to think that I would be a good rich guy.
Yeah.
I have enough interests that I could spend all of my time doing things and not feel some longing to like need to conquer or do something. Because that's what happens to all these guys. You get rich enough and suddenly you now need to try to be in politics. Happens every cycle. And now that Ramaswamy guy, I don't know do you watch the Republican debate?
Oh, the NIT tournament? Yeah. I check in on the teams that didn't make March Madness all the time. Yeah. I love to see.
Why did Trump not participate?
Because he knows,
just doesn't need to.
Yeah, he just knows he's got the lead
by so much.
Yeah.
He's like 60%.
Yeah, he just knows.
Crazy.
He just knows he's gonna win. So he's just like, he's not participating. I think you'd be a great rich guy because you have empathy, you have humanity.
I appreciate that.
It exudes off you. I'm yet to meet someone who's like insanely rich or famous with empathy. I'm searching for it. That would be a great reality show. It would just be let's try to find one guy who's like super rich who cares about people. Every time I come in contact with one, their just eyes are like sharks and they just look at me like I'm a lamb or something. And they're weird. They're like trying to connect. So,
well, dude, but okay, that's a really interesting thing because I find, so here I have two questions. First of all, did any of those people start with empathy and lose it along the way? Because a lot of the time we'll see people pop off in our industry and like a lot of the time it's people who never had it. Usually.
Yeah.
Not always.
No, but usually, yeah.
Usually.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, like, do you lose it along the way? And the other thing that's interesting is those kind of people are good at faking it for a period of time, which is why the reality show would be good because you follow them until you see their true colors.
Yeah, then the mask comes off. Yeah, it's like seeing them without makeup. They're like, no! Yeah. You see this demon face. No, I really care about what I tweeted. Yeah, our field, I've always said, we share sort of the same skill set as dictators. Mm-hmm. We get up on stage, we have kind of glib charisma,
Yeah.
It's like there's not a lot of difference between a lot of famous comedians and like Ted Bundy's skill set.
Dude, totally.
Yeah.
And there's an effective tool that a lot of people use, and it's not a bad tool. I actually attempt to use it as well. I don't know how effective I am because I don't know if I believe it while I'm saying it. But like the amount of times I've seen people addressing their followers as we successfully,
Yeah.
I admire that. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, this is a movement.
Yeah. What was this? What was the Dane Cook thing? What was it?
I don't know. I don't remember.
What was his Hail Hitler? It was kind of like a 3-finger salute.
Oh,
you know?
he had like a thing
Yeah,
for
he had a
everybody.
thing. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know
he
about
had a
that.
thing.
But dude,
Yeah.
that shit works. And like, you
We're
know,
all cult leaders now.
yes.
Yeah.
And it's nice if, as long as nothing fucked up starts happening.
Yeah, there it is.
What is it?
It was like it's like that.
I can't even do it.
Yeah.
Dude. I would have been exterminated.
Sign of the occult.
I can't fully
Yeah.
do the cook.
Yeah.
But it is true, man. There is a part of it that's like, and I always wonder that. I'm like, do I want to be accessible and relatable, or do I want to be a person that people feel good looking at because they know they'll never be that? I don't know that I can be the latter, but do you know what I mean? There are those two different ways about, like, there's those kind of guys where people are like, I want to be that guy, but I can't be. So I'm just going to like follow him.
Yeah. Well, which one can you be?
I don't know.
Which would you have it in you to be the guy who like people? I'll never be that guy.
Oh, to be that guy?
Yeah.
Oh, like to be like a Tate?
Yeah.
Definitely. No way, dude.
could you-
Although he's hilarious. I'm sorry. People are going to
He's very funny.
He is funny. If he was just a stand-up
yeah,
comedian,
yeah.
he would not be controversial.
If you're not a woman he's hitting, he's funny.
Yeah, if you're not being sex trafficked by him,
Yeah.
he does say some funny shit.
Which I guess there's no proof because there was going to be in the comments right now. There's not proof. Okay, it's not. I'm not saying
that's
there is,
funny.
but I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised if I showed up at his house and there was about 15 Ukrainian war refugee childless women in the basement doing odd jobs. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people would be surprised.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people. I think a lot of people would be like, oh yeah, that's kind of, you know, it's kind of like that great Cat Williams joke, the best joke about Michael Jackson.
Oh my God,
it's
dude.
the greatest. Where he's
It's
like,
so good.
He's like, well, I like women, so I got satin sheets,
Yeah.
I got silk sheets. Now, if I was in the kids, what would I have? I don't know, a fucking amusement park, a monkey that talks.
Dude, what does he say about the drinks? He's like, I don't drink that, but bitches do.
dude. It's like, yeah, if I was in the kids, I'd have some fruit punch and juice box and.
Dude, occasionally a comedian friend will just like send me a Cat Williams clip and be like, we all are terrible.
He's
compared to
so
this.
funny, dude.
So good.
He's
Such a
so
legend.
everything about him is comedic.
Yeah,
He's,
pretty impressive.
He's really funny.
Dude, you know what's funny? When some people talk about Tate, there'll always be like, you know, I personally think Tate says some funny shit, but I'd never be like he's wise, or I'm not like into him at all.
Right, what do you mean? You wouldn't? Yeah.
But there'll be a moment where I'm talking with a group of friends and we'll be like, oh my God, dude, if you don't drink sparkling water, you're a pussy, whatever.
Yeah.
They'll say some insane shit. And then one friend will be like, but dude, he's actually kind of smart.
Yeah.
He does say some, dude, he's usually right. I'm like, dude, what?
He says,
It's scary.
I mean, I don't know. If you say enough, you're going to, I mean, a broken clock is right twice. I mean, I want to join Hustler University for the fun of it. And I don't knock anything he's doing. I think it's great. I think if people want to sign up and he convinces people, he's filling a void, right? I think, it's a real lost generation. And there's a lot of these sort of surrogate father figures that popped up on the internet.
alpha
like
male
Jordan
guys.
Peele, the alpha
Yeah.
male guys. Like, I'll teach you how to clean
man.
your room and be a savage, but control it. You know, there's a bunch of those guys who are being like, I wish you were my dad. I want a Bugatti. And that's great. You know, it's not, they're filling a void in the marketplace. It's sort of like, there's a very libertarian explanation for their appeal. And I think after this phase comes the full chaos, which is like the nihilism. And we saw that with people like tattooing their faces and shit like that. And then the thing that comes after that is they're going to make a hard turn to religion. So the next thing that's coming is the Christian Ayatollah, where we're just going to elect like this guy who's just like close the borders, you know, give everything the brown paper bag test. If it doesn't do it, kick him out. It's going to be a hard turn to the right.
Well, it's interesting you say that because it's one of those, and you alluded to this earlier, where it's like, you know, the rich people don't want people coming burning down their houses. So it's like, how do we get the masses to like our shit also? And you package it together and then you have a party or whatever.
Yeah.
But you can kick yourself in the foot with that. Is that the right term?
Sure.
Kick yourself in the foot?
Yeah,
Shoot
you can
yourself
kick
in the
Shoot
yourself.
your, thank you. Shoot
Yeah,
yourself
you
in
can
the
also
foot.
kick
It's fine.
yourself.
You can also kick yourself in the foot. Okay, but you can shoot yourself in the foot because then sometimes, and it happened in Game of Thrones with the Red Sparrow episode. I don't know if you watched that.
Yeah, of course.
But it's that same shit where it's like suddenly those people can like take over in a way that you don't necessarily want.
That's right.
That might not be good.
Bottled water was somebody's big hustle, right? So bottled water became a thing where they were selling water and you had to buy water. The problem, what they didn't see, someone made a lot of money doing that, but what they didn't see is they took away people drinking from the faucet. Once you take away people drinking from the faucet, you can't sedate them surreptitiously. And that's what I would do. I would put tons of Klonopin in the water supply to just cool everybody down. Just fucking drug everybody. I think that is sort of...
Yannis 2024.
Yeah, I mean, that would be what we need right now, but now
pretty
it's
good.
hard to drop Klonopin in every bottle of water.
Privately
You
owned.
got to get people drinking from the faucet again, and then you just sedatives in the fucking water supply.
I love it, dude.
Take them down. Take everyone down a notch. Cool everything down. Little Xannies,
Mm-hmm.
couple Xanny bars in the water supply. Things will chill the fuck out.
Guys, if you're doing holiday gift shopping, why not go the sustainable route and get them something that they will love from Reboot Eco, their sustainable marketplace. It's the one-stop shop for all things sustainable living. And I know if I was getting it as a gift before I knew about Reboot Eco, I would be thrilled because it's thoughtful and it's also shocking at how user-friendly a lot of these sustainable products are. I've always thought of them as being a thing that would be a pain, but it's truly not. They have so much good stuff from any aspect of home and personal care, whether it be the serum bar, which I love rubbing all over my face, get me looking real nice and juicy in this dry part of the season, or house cleaning products, whether it be dryer sheets or detergent. They literally have everything, and it is something that you don't have to feel guilty about, especially with our rapidly declining Earth. Hopefully it's not quite too late to turn the course around, and you should be part of the solution and not part of the problem, as they say with Reboot Eco. Plus, as far as gift giving, the stuff on the site is shockingly affordable for tree hugger products. It's not all just tree hugger products. You don't only have to get this stuff for, your aunt who hasn't taken a shower in 2 years and who lives in the forest. Mm-hmm. This is for everybody. This is for a guy like Lynch, a clean guy, a guy who is unwilling to compromise on cleanliness.
Never.
Deodorant cream.
The deodorant. Oh,
You love that, huh?
I might get a tattoo saying how much I love it. It's the perfect stocking stuffer for your child that might be going through puberty. Just sneak it in there, have them put it in their backpack and bring it to play practice. I promise you, I'm sure there was someone out there that needed deodorant in that moment, and you could be that parent because it is some really good deodorant.
Absolutely. And support small businesses this holiday season. Reboot Eco is a small business which sells products from small businesses. You are literally impacting many small businesses all at once by shopping there. So right now, if you want to find the perfect gift for the holiday season, just go to rebooteco.com and use promo code OOPS to get 15% off of your online purchase. That's REBOOTECO.com. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram at Reboot Eco. Get in there, live that sustainable life, be that sustainable queen that you've always been.
Or king.
Or king, and get some nice sustainable gifts. Reboot Eco. But dude, this reminds me of another thing. Have you watched the Arnold documentary on? It's a new one. It's not the one where he's like, it's like coming. It's not that one.
The guy. Oh,
Arnold
yeah, I
Schwarzenegger.
did. The one he's like, my brother was a girly man. Yeah. He was always weak and not like me. Yeah.
But he mentioned something in that I thought was interesting, where he moves here to America, and it was like a chaotic time. It's like protesting about Vietnam War, blah, 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 OPEC, all that shit. And he's like, I didn't see any of that because I was just an immigrant. I was just excited to be in America, and all I saw was opportunity. And there's something similar there, in my opinion, where it's like people are always going to feel like there's some impending doom for whatever reason, part because people prey on that because they can. It gets people's attention to make them scared. It's a cliche. It's obvious.
Yeah.
But it's that. And it's like, no matter what is happening, and even like a lot of my friends, the amount of times I hear people saying, everything's going to shit, we're fucked, we're all fucked. And sometimes they're saying stuff that makes sense, and other times they're not. And I'm like, this is no way to live, dude.
Yeah. No, you can't focus on it. Don't read the news. Things are just, you live in a bright, shiny world. Like, don't Don't find out what's going on in the Middle East, because the sand never settles there. I mean, it's just perpetual kind of madness. Hopefully, I don't think anything bad's going to happen. Nobody's going to launch any nukes. I don't think anyone's going to launch any nukes for a couple of years.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just live in the world you want to live in is what you're saying.
I think
Arnold
so.
had the perspective. He didn't focus on it. So everyone's got, what you're saying is everyone should become a bodybuilder from Germany.
No, I think that what everybody should be thinking about, in my opinion, is that, there will always be chaos, and we're always being presented the highlights of the worst shit that's happened on Earth every single day.
That is true.
There's a lot of good stuff that happens too.
That's why you got to go to Tank's Good News and just follow that. There's some retarded kid found his ball, and it's big news.
The problem with Taste, dude, the problem with the good news websites is that they only specifically talk about like human interest stuff instead of like positive scientific developments or something. Like an old lady crossing the street. Okay, that's very nice and uplifting, but that's not like good news per se. You know what I mean?
They'll do one where they have like the kids putting on glasses, they're colorblind, and they get to see color for the first time. That's
I love
that's a
those
good
videos.
one.
Oh yeah.
Or the blind kids, and then they get to see
Seeing
their
shit
mom
for the first time.
Oh God, those are good ones.
Those are good.
Yeah.
Those are good.
Those are real good ones.
But there's positive breakthroughs too. Like I've seen shit where I was like, how have I never heard about that?
Yeah.
For example, the idea that they can like take trash and destroy it and use that as an energy source.
Yes.
And the CO2 does not go back into the environment.
Yeah.
Like, why isn't everybody talking about that?
Yeah, because they I don't know if they trust science anymore because of the vax. Right? Everyone's like, they're like, bullshit, I don't believe. You can go on X and you can find a conspiracy theory for
Every single thing.
Every single thing. And conspiracy theories have gone very mainstream. And a lot of them end up being true, which just fuels the more ridiculous ones. So I think people have just lost their faith in Western medicine until they get cancer or something. And they're going to be like, give me whatever you got.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But it doesn't make for hot content. It doesn't make for lit content if you're celebrating some revolutionary, some stem cell treatment.
It's good.
Yeah, it's the car crash. It's the car crash loophole. It's the car crash kind of blind spot that we have, and the media has fully fallen for it because they're dependent on clicks now, right? Not subscribers.
Right.
So they've created everything into a car crash, so we all slow down and look at the car crash.
Right.
Because we can't help it. We love, if there's a car on the side of the road and there's a flame, we're all gonna bottleneck to look at it. But if there's like a social worker giving someone their meds on the side of the road, we're all gonna be like, get the fuck out of the way, Nobody likes good,
It's true.
It's just not fun, dude.
Yeah, right.
It's just not. We don't make movies about those people. We make movies about mob bosses, and they're already making a movie about George Santos. He's a star.
Right.
He's an absolute sociopath who got elected in Long Island, probably the only place you could get elected lying that much, because all you got to do is drop a few buzzwords, and those people jumped. You just close the border, kill the commies, and Long Island was like, fucking yeah. And they elected him. The guy, his whole life's a lie, but we know his name. HBO's making a movie about him. Nobody's making a movie about whatever do-gooder there is in Congress because we don't know their names.
Nobody's making a movie about John Kerry.
Yeah.
Being the climate envoy.
Yeah.
For real, it's true, bro. And yeah, it's really a bummer. It's about like nobody's watching 60 Minutes and seeing the breakthroughs with whatever energy conversion bullshit. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, try to tell a young kid about 60 Minutes. They're like, can we make it like 45 seconds?
Yeah.
60
Can
minutes.
we make it 14
it's a
seconds?
fucking hour. I get my news from a TikTok.
Well, dude, sometimes people will send me a meme about something ominous. They'll be like, can you believe this? And it'll say something ridiculous, and then you'll read what it is, and it's actually nothing.
Wait,
it's
you
actually
get texts from Joe Rogan too? Edit that out. He likes to sell memes. He loves memes.
But dude, like the thing says something crazy. How do you not think, let me read more about this crazy thing?
Right.
And then once you read it, you're like, oh, that was just like clickbait.
Yeah.
But like I'm getting messages from people who are not reading more.
Yeah.
They see something scary and they're scared and that's it.
Yeah.
They can't read 2 paragraphs.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Stresses me out.
Is it just the conditioning of sort of video content and short form? And
I guess.
Yeah, it's ironic because you can basically research anything now that you want endlessly, and we do less of it. Mm-hmm. So it's the irony of it. It's very ironic. You can literally read anything. You can get any book at the tip of your fingertips. You can watch a whole video if you want, but we're conditioned to, I don't know, move quick. I mean, we've gotten down to seconds now. It's like seconds, yeah.
Have you felt your attention span change?
Yeah. It's that, it's like that whole phenomenon of ADD. Is ADD a real thing, or was that just a creative kid who was raised on television who had to switch his attention span every couple minutes, and then there was 30 seconds of very manipulative people trying to get you to pay attention to their product. It's like you're watching something on TV, and then there's Usher on an animated rainbow selling you a Twix bar, and you're just like, they know what they're doing. Like advertisements work. That's why they do them. It's like we tap into your subconscious, and they get you. We're getting all this information just flooded into our brain. And television commercials, it's not a coincidence to me that television commercials, TV, and ADD, it kind of happened. And then now with the internet, forget it. It's like things are flying at you every second. So it's conditioning.
Dude,
it's conditioning.
Totally.
And a lot of it is subconscious. I mean, you ever watch those, like this guy in Darren Brown, his name is, from England, and he's like a median and all that. He like tricks people, but he did this whole special where he showed that it was all full of shit. And he did these advertising things where he tricks these like famous people into saying exactly what he wants them to say with all this suggestive subconscious stuff. One of them is crazy because he like puts in the present what they would want, or like what they're gonna want. And so I remember it was a red bike. So he asks them all these questions. And when you're watching it, you don't catch it. And then the person's like, what would you want for Christmas? They're like, I want a red bike. And he opens the present. And people are like, what the fuck?
Yeah, interesting.
And then he goes back and he shows you how you did it. And you're like, fuck, that's what advertisers do to us.
Wow.
Colors, suggestive words. It gets in your subconscious.
They're using magic on us,
Yeah,
dude. What
dude.
the
It's
fuck?
like the subconscious is a real thing. That's why the only hope for humanity would be people to do therapy and understand their subconscious, make the subconscious conscious, like Carl Jung said, and get over the intergenerational trauma and all that shit. Nobody's gonna do that. You think Putin's doing? You think Putin's doing what? You think he has any idea why he's really doing what he's doing? Do you think Hitler really knew why he was doing what he was doing? It was probably about his mom and his fucking homosexual thoughts or whatever kind of shit. Because when you get to a higher fucking place, you're not thinking about riches anymore. You're just thinking about like existing and being at peace. And that's why these people who chase all this money and stuff, they're fucking miserable. They die in bathtubs. Doesn't look that great.
And they're just like walking
famous
cliches.
people. Yeah. Does it seem great?
No.
It doesn't seem great. Every fucking famous person I met, I'm like, why are they so miserable? It's because internally they're all fucking empty.
Right, and it's not like every single like wealthy person or whatever, but it is funny to see people with money be cliches where they're like coveting an object that's specifically marketed at them. It's like you never escape not being able to afford your life,
right?
If you're a sucker.
Yeah,
and I may be one. I don't know.
I think we all are.
We all may be.
It's our society, and there's no end to up. That's the danger of it. It's like there's no end to up, meaning like you get one thing, and then you're like, well, wait, now I don't like it anymore. Now I need it, and then there's no end to it. It's just endless.
And you're comparing yourself to the people you know. So it's like these rich guys who are like lying about their taxes and like doing illegal shit to get more money, and you're like, how could you do that? And it's like because your whole identity is that. And you're comparing yourself to your rich friend who did this, and you have one bad year, and you can't. You know what I mean? It must be a crazy rat race.
It's a rat. Yeah, it
all is. Though.
I'm yet to meet someone who's like killing it at that, and they're just like their energy is so like peaceful and calm. Like they always make me like really uncomfortable. They're always like. Their eyes are darting around the
peaceful
room.
people? Oh, no. Oh, the darting.
Yeah, they like, half listening to you. They're like looking at their phone. They're like, where's the next score? Where's the next hit? Where's the next hit?
And the peaceful people that I do know, it's like, they're doing this because they were going to die. If they didn't, if they didn't learn to be peaceful and centered and grounded. And like, it seems like that's all that they can possibly do to feel good at this point.
Have you noticed, do you think that social media has made us all into like addicts because we're all at the casino at like trying to get something to hit?
For people making content?
Yeah, it's like even people who are just throwing up pictures, they're making content too. You're always checking for the likes and stuff like that because they know that you get the dopamine hits from that. It's like a casino. The casino's goal is to keep you there for as long as possible. the social media site's goal is to keep you on it for as long as possible. That's where the more eyeballs for the longer amount of time, the more you see their ads. And so they hook you in with all these psychological tricks to, hack your brain for chemical rewards that we're completely, for the most part, unaware of.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And you're incentivized to edit videos that way to get somebody hooked in within the first 5 seconds. So like the content that's posted isn't even genuine. The good ones, at least, unless they're like spectacularly unique. I think it's very addicting. I seem to throw the rest of my life aside just to get a video up. Like, I'll sit down and I'll put out an hour to write and record and post a TikTok. And then it turns into 4 hours of making sure everything looks right. If something in the background moves, then, oh, no, we got to scrap it. We got to do it again. And they have me editing in the app for hours. And then next thing you know, it's 10 o'clock. My girlfriend didn't eat dinner yet. The apartment is a mess because I brought out all these different outfits that I was going to wear that I ended up not using at all. And then sometimes I don't even get a video out. Yeah. And that's 6 hours that I spent on TikTok not getting content out. But then when you do get the content out, you're just constantly waiting, like, please let this be the one. Let this be the one.
Why didn't I just wait to post it at 10? It's just like you're at the slot machine.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Absolutely, dude. It's intentionally designed that way. It's designed that way, and they know what they're doing. Like advertisers, they know what they're doing.
I'm willing to buy into it though, which is sad.
I've bought into it. Yeah.
But dude, you're doing great. I remember when I made the conscious decision to be like, okay, I need to like post a lot. That has definitely made my life worse for sure. But I like to the point where like I can't even go on with my day or my week if I'm not like thinking about what I'm posting.
Well, in our career, you got two choices. There's two paths. Now, the path that we have is accessible. It's also more fruitful now. It's much more fruitful.
Oh, yeah.
The guys who are big on social media are making
so much money.
They're making Matt Damon movie star money.
And they're not even household names.
No, they're not even household names. And people, when you tell them what they're making, a lot of times if they're not in that world, they can't believe it.
They don't even believe it, yeah.
It's insane amounts of money. They're completely free. They can say whatever they want. So there's a huge reward. There's a huge bucket at the end of the rainbow. And there's two paths. The one path is like what is the old one, which used to be the only one, which was like you are completely plucked. And it is more evident now because of the other path that like those people are plucked. They're pushed. There's publicists.
And the pushing doesn't work that well all the time.
Not anymore.
It doesn't. And that actually gives me a lot of satisfaction. I must say.
It's nice to see. Yeah, it's nice to see that you could advertise something. You could have every star in your show.
You can force us to look at it, and we still don't have to care.
Still won't look at it, and that's what illuminated how much of it was fake. How much of it was just like, hey, we're going to tell you what's good.
Right.
Because now people are going like, no, we got a lot of options. You can't force me to, no matter how much times you push it in my face, I have other options. So, so that part is good. There's pros and cons to it. But there's two paths, and the path is internet or being pushed by a now kind of antiquated machine that just puts you in every paper and pushes your stuff in front of people, and so the Wizard of Oz, the people have seen the curtain a little bit now. They're going, oh, there's just a dude back there. There's a dude. There's a little Hollywood dude back there going like, this is the good stuff, and people are like, nah, we've seen the behind the curtain. I'm going to go listen to the Tim Dillon show and listen to him rant off the top of the head.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, dude, it's funny you say that. I have heard, and I don't know that this is actually true, but I've heard there are physical people who like decide which TikToks go. They like click them. There's like a bunch of them, and it's like that person exists.
Oh, yeah.
And that's insane.
That's how they depicted
there's
in
a guy.
The Social Dilemma. They have a guy literally clicking, feeding certain things to certain people, and your algorithm, it isn't just natural. It's all curated.
That's right.
Everything's curated.
It's more like TV now. It's interesting. It's come kind of full circle.
Right.
I remember that heyday of the internet where something went viral through sharing.
Yes.
Like it was through. Now it's just algorithm.
Yep.
It's just people watched it for a little longer, or whoever's pushing it.
You get a bunch of comments in the first couple minutes or something. Whatever.
Yeah, it's all mathematical now. Where it used to be human sharing. So that's how something went viral. Before Facebook decided they were going to make videos, it was like that's the place where you shared a YouTube video and everyone retweeted it. This is like circa 2010, 11, 12, and things went viral just from sharing it on their pages, and someone else shared it, and then you just see all these shares.
Right.
And that's what made something viral. Now shares don't make it viral. it's the algorithm.
Right.
Yeah. So it's curated a lot like television. So we've actually come kind of a little full circle where there are people making decisions about, this girl we're gonna make this girl popular on TV,
right?
Which is what made TikTok a little dangerous.
Totally.
Yeah.
And now everybody's copying it because it's been so successful.
Yeah.
So all the other apps are like it too, which is interesting because there's a lot of like newer people, and comedy's a good way to look at this, who are really good at it. And they're like getting too big for their britches. These are people who like can't even do like 10 minutes of comedy.
That's right.
So it's interesting to see people who book people start to understand that too. So it's like, okay, like this guy has this many followers. Like, can he literally? And I think all you need to be able to do is do a cohesive, not even cohesive. You need to be able to perform something for an hour. And if you can fill the place, you can do it.
Oh yeah, and they will book that person over a good person who in a second.
And I don't necessarily think that that's wrong.
No, you have to do it.
It just is what it is.
It has. You have to change for the times. And also, like when anyone gets cynical about social media, like there's all these addictive properties that I think are bad for people, for sure. But if you're in comedy or whatever, it's like you can't just sit there and go, all these bad people are getting big, because there's a lot of good people getting big too.
Totally.
So it's like, if you're good, just adapt. Stop thinking about the hour special and just start putting clips up and just adapt your focus to sort of this incremental modality where you're putting things up one at a time and, trying to hack the algorithm the same way. And eventually you're going to find your audience too. Just be positive about it.
But it's true. And
sure, you'll be strung out and fucking your wife won't eat dinner, but fuck her. Make your own dinner, bitch. I'm fucking editing a TikTok.
Dude, HelloFresh is where it's at. If you are trying to get in there and make some delicious food for yourself and not pull your hair out because it's difficult and not spend all of your money. After a full day of work, there's still so much to do. Some days it feels like eating a wholesome dinner is next to impossible, but with HelloFresh, you can turn busy weeknights into memorable meal times with delicious, practical options designed for you to save time in their 15-minute meals. Literally takes 15 minutes from start to finish. I mean, hopefully you're not eating that fast too. 15 minutes doesn't include the actual eating part. But make hosting this holiday a joy rather than a hassle with the help of the HelloFresh Market. From crowd-pleasing charcuterie boards to photo-worthy desserts, it's easy to add these party pleasers to your weekly order, saving you so much time. I made shakshuka the other day, dude. If you had asked me figure out how to make it, would I have been able to do it? Nope. And here I am ripping shakshuka, dude, and it was delicious. And here I am cooking up stuff. I'm making scallops with pasta. Never cooked scallops in my life. I'm sure it's going to be pretty easy because HelloFresh makes it easy. And it's amazing how much I enjoy cooking. I throw on some Bad Bunny. I'm here. I'm there. They're like, while you're doing this, do this. So while the pasta's cooking, I'm cutting vegetables, whatever it might be. HelloFresh is the way to go. Go to HelloFresh.com/oopsfree and use code oopsfree for free breakfast for life. One breakfast item per box while the subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life at HelloFresh.com/oopsfree with code oopsfree. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. You've always been a hands-on guy, it seems like. So maybe would you say that this like era has been a very positive thing for you? Or
Yeah. And that's why, for sure. Like I was early to the game. I was one of the first guys who went viral in New York City with the characters, and I was the first guy selling tickets of my friends from the characters. It was so early, like I didn't completely buy into it.
Right.
Like so, and that was a mistake in retrospect a little bit, because I was still obsessed with getting Montreal and the half hour and the traditional
Which
route.
you've done all of those things.
I've done all those things, and they did nothing for me. It's funny when you hear historically about how the Native Americans like didn't understand the ships of the conquistadors because they had no frame of reference to it. This is a far-fetched example, but but the anatomy is the same. Like when it was happening, like I didn't see it. I didn't believe it. Like even though it was like, I remember when I had a weekend at Caroline's.
I remember you sold that out.
I sold it out quickly.
That was legendary. Everybody talked about that.
I still was like, you didn't buy into it, right? Because I didn't have anyone to emulate and I remember Chris D'Elia and Whitney had that show at the time. There was billboards. There was billboards of them everywhere. They were on coasters. There was commercials for her show, Whitney. And I think Chris D'Elia was at Caroline's a weekend before, and they didn't even pull the curtain. They had to pull the curtain because he couldn't sell. And I'm like, I still didn't believe. I'm like, it was just kind of, looking back, you're still not understanding, and it wasn't when he got on TikTok. And then he got big.
Right.
And you're going like, oh shit. TV can't make you fucking big anymore.
Right.
All those
It's not
marketing
guaranteed
dollars,
to, yeah.
Yeah, they kind of almost can't. And it's very rare that they can.
Yeah,
you
no,
know?
totally.
And even when you look at Netflix is a streaming service. People select it. It's the internet. People forget that too.
Right.
So it's like YouTube, right? People go and they peruse videos and the algorithm pushes the popular ones to the top. So even that isn't TV. It's streaming.
Right.
Yeah.
And the biggest movie of the quarter will come out and like you'll talk about it for 4 days, then move on.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
the end of the world one that just came out. Did you watch that?
No.
Did you guys watch that?
I'm gonna watch that this
What's
week.
it called again? It's called Leave the World Behind, I think.
Oh, is that with Julia Roberts and Ethan Hawke? And,
Yes. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Not going to spoil anything and let you guys see it.
It'll probably come. It'll probably circle again. Like
Yeah.
movie, people will just get sick of 30-second content. and
of
probably-
30-second content that sometimes just sucks.
Yeah.
The people who are like just carpet bombing all the apps.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It is a carpet bomb.
It is. Yeah.
It's a good way to describe
Yeah,
it.
it's crazy.
It's like you really are. You're like farting on the walk.
Dude, it's wild. And yeah, somebody said this to me. They're like, dude, we're standing in a river of content. Nobody sees anything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Jesus Christ, that is fucked up.
It's true.
Trying to wrap my head around it. But dude, okay, so when you said you regret it a little bit, what do you mean? Like not leaning into the character work more?
Like we did for characters, I would do one video every year or 6 months.
Well, we
like-
should tell people. So
Yeah.
anybody who doesn't know about this, Mr. Panos is one. Marisa, that's it.
Yeah.
Like you've all said that. That's where that comes from. And then, or those are like the two main ones.
Those are the two first ones that
Yeah.
kind of like took off and went a little viral. And Marisa went very viral.
Yeah.
And
What, like 2011?
this was 2011. Yeah, I made it in 2011. And
That's good. I pulled that. That's pretty good.
That's very.
paying
good.
attention,
Yeah,
bro.
Yeah,
Come on.
Somebody hit my
Laugh
Wikipedia
Lounge.
before this. Yeah, Laugh Lounge. It was those days. And so I wasn't. I didn't consistently use that opportunity to keep making videos consistently while all the. The algorithm and the eyeballs were on it, like making other sketches and stuff like that. I was more concerned with the traditional stand-up route. Part of me is happy I did that because I developed as a stand-up. So if you come see me, I have experienced stand-up chops. But the other half is like, that doesn't matter anymore. I could go do a Q&A. I could,
But developing, I do think there's a lot of value, especially now, in developing things where you're being yourself.
Yeah.
Like that sells your tickets as you. You can do a pod, it rips. Your stand-up, people want to see it. Whereas with character stuff, like, I'm sure that there was some fear where it's like, am I only going to be traveling and doing character shows?
For sure.
And no one's going to know me.
That's for sure too. Yeah.
Right?
So that was something that was in me. So that had nothing to do with the times. Yeah. I was like, I don't want to just do this.
But it was right. I think that was the right instinct. And I remember hearing people talk about you in a way where like they were acting as if you were this guy who was not getting proper credit. You know what I mean? Like at the time, like it was ahead. You were really ahead of your time, dude.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
popping off on the social media, it like didn't have the same like direct impact that it has now.
Yeah.
You like laid the groundwork for that almost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You
I
were
think
one
a
of the
lot of
first
people,
guys.
I remember even Schultz saying to me, like he would look at the ticket sales and he would like count like what I was making, and he saw just how. I remember he called me once. He saw some people on the street like watching it, like
shit.
and he called me and he was like, "I'm on the phone with him," like, and they were like, "What? That's it." So I think a lot of people saw just the results and they were like, "Wow, that's a real route. That's a route.
Yeah.
You don't have to wait for Comedy Central or a late night set." And so I think people, saw that as a route, which is great, and it's been great for a lot of people. And I'm circling back now, like I'm very heavily on the internet now, and so I mean, I have no regrets about it. I guess the regret, when I said regret, it's like I recognize that like, oh, there was an opportunity that might have been missed, but also not really, because
You laid the groundwork for this time.
Yeah. And
You know what I mean?
developed a lot of other things, and things happen as they happen. And I think if I was still going like, oh, I gotta get a late night set, then that would be. But yeah, I mean,
You're the first person who did stand up on Fallon, right?
yeah, I was
You were literally
on
the
his test
first.
show. Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't do good.
Really?
Yeah, I'm so glad it didn't air. I
Interesting.
froze up.
Interesting.
Yeah, I froze up. I don't know why.
Would it have translated?
What do you mean?
Like, if that had aired, it didn't air?
I never saw the set. It didn't air. It was a
interesting.
test show. So he was doing like real shows with real guests and a full audience, but they weren't airing because he was just like,
Got it.
So I was like the first stand-up who like held the mic and did a set on the show, and it was full band and everything. And yeah, I mean, I came up just with TV, so it was like I was on the Tonight Show, so I froze up a little.
Wow.
I went out there and like I wanted to look at the band, I wanted to look at Jimmy, and then I was like, oh yeah, shit, I got to do my set, and I was like, oh, what's my first joke? And then like, so there was like a little, maybe like a 4-second pause before I said anything because I completely froze up. I was nervous, and then I told my first joke, and the set went okay. It was like not great.
Do you think it was better than you think? Type of thing?
No. You know, it's like, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it was the horror story I have in my brain.
Sometimes you know, but you don't like you're being too hard sometimes.
Yeah.
Too.
But I know it, you know. That's the thing about comedy is like, you know. The crowd's there to let you know. You can hear it. And that's why it's funny when people review comedy. You're like, dude, we already know. We have people reviewing it in real time in the room.
It, right?
Yeah. So when you're going like, this wasn't right, it's like, no, the crowd was fine. It was that whole Daniel Tosh thing. Remember, that was the beginning of cancel culture.
What
circle
happened?
around. Like some girl was heckling, and he was like, wouldn't, in the context of the comedy shows, like, wouldn't it, he was asking like, has anyone raped something? And he was like, wouldn't it be funny if this girl was just raped right now? And the crowd erupted because in the context of that moment, he was saying something heinous to her because she was being extremely disruptive. But when you take the fish out of water and you transcribe it, you're going like, oh my God, Daniel Tosh said
this
a pack of people should rape this girl. Right. And so he was one of the first. Like that was the beginning of cancel culture. I remember when it was starting too. It was around 2012. I was working at Fusion in Miami, and you could just feel that millennial energy of like everyone becoming a content creator and everyone looking to take people down. Like if they themselves weren't comedians, or like you could feel that they were looking for gotcha stuff. I remember they even said, because I was cast with 2 journalists. We were a news show, and I remember that we were owned by Disney, which ABC News, which was owned by Disney and Univision, and they gave us a talk. They were like, all right, pick a fight. They were like, and I was like, wow, that's what news does.
Damn.
I was like behind the curtain, and I was like, that's what they intentionally, I mean, I'm telling you what they said. I mean, it's like, that's what we're looking to do. Pick a fight, find a fight. That's what people like. It's what it does. Like, pick a fight. Aren't we supposed to just tell the news and aren't I supposed to make jokes about it? Like, no, we got to pick a fight. We got to find a target, pick a fight. And so that's what they do. They pick a fight because people love gossip. They love drama. And the news just increasingly became more tabloid for the hits. Little by little, it just became tabloid. And I could feel that switch where the people who are taking you down, that's their content. They're doing it for view. They're creating content creators.
Right. They're not even thinking about.
It's just content.
Yeah, interesting.
It's like, I'm making content about, and it's going to get views because it's about Daniel Tosh, who's big. So otherwise, I'm just some unknown person talking about sea turtles.
Right.
But if I'm talking about Daniel Tosh, I can get into his algorithm, and then people know who he is. So let's go search through his shits if we can find his story. And so that's how that started.
How was that job?
It was great. It was great to be in Miami when I was heartbroken because I had broken up with Jesse May at that time.
I remember. So hold on, real quick for context. So he got this job in Miami, which is he's already described the job. I didn't realize it was right around the time the U2 broke up.
Yeah,
it was a high-profile comedy couple at the time.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean,
you moved down there. You took this job that was like sort of a parallel job, but also sort of not. It's almost like a start of a different track. You were there for a bit. You came back. I've been curious about that always.
Yeah, it was interesting because Fusion was like the last attempt to build a massive network, like a new network. Mm-hmm. Like the culture had already switched, right? It was like people who were already on their phones and they were doing it like this. Yeah. But Disney and Univision, 2 massive companies, were like, we're going to make this network for millennials. At first, it was going to be for Latin American millennials because they're the largest emerging minority. But then they ran that, I could tell you exactly the inside baseball of this. They ran that in testing, and they found that American born Latin kids didn't want to be targeted. They did not want that. They didn't want like a WEP in the morning. They just wanted good stuff. Right. So then they went diversity. So this was 2012. This was before everyone was talking about this was the beginning of it. This was a network aimed at diversity with sort of a wink towards Latins because that was the target. So
A wink
yeah,
towards
it was funny to be in all these meetings, dude. It was
Yeah,
really
I'm
interesting
sure.
to be in
It's
these meetings
fascinating.
because you saw it develop into like a thing that all the companies were doing, and that was the priority. You see it now in academia. It became like a movement of like, we need to level the playing field for everybody. Merit is sort of, you see it with the Asian lawsuit in the Ivy League where the Asians were like, hey, we're standardized testings. You're not letting us in because of this diversity. And people are going like, yeah, but that's what we're doing now. And Asians are like, what? So then why have the standardized test? So it became this widespread thing. And it was starting and percolating around 2010, 11, 12. And I was part of a network that failed miserably trying to do that. And you see that the companies that tried to do that, to prioritize that, didn't really do that great. Like it didn't really work, like that was that whole Roseanne thing. Like Roseanne came back and it like was getting pre-cable numbers and you're going like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I know? And then she went on Twitter because she's a nut.
Yeah.
But she was getting like 40 million views
Holy
at the
shit.
time where another sitcom was struggling to get like 1.
Yeah.
And it was the rebellion against
It's hard to make new shit.
Yeah, and people were also rebelling against like, we know what you're trying to push down our throats.
Right.
We don't care what the people look like, just make it good.
Yes.
And Hollywood was going like, no. We want it to look like a Benetton ad. We want it to look like a advertisement for a community college. It's like,
Which is still a thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's all interesting, all great. I'm curious too about your personal experience because you take this job, you do it. It's a network. I'm assuming you got paid pretty well.
Yeah.
Solid, right?
Yeah.
But and don't correct me if I'm wrong, but like not enough that once it ends, you don't need to start working again.
Well, no, yeah, it was good money.
Oh, so like
at that time,
so you had some padding to come back into.
A little padding to come back, but
Okay,
it was
that's good.
I walked away from the offer that was a lot of money. They were going to double my money, but I just felt that it was a dead end thing. I saw nobody was watching our
Got
show.
it.
I was kind of miserable. I wanted to be back in New York. I wanted to continue to grow as a comedian and get bigger, and it just felt like
Brave decision.
Yeah, it just felt like I was just going to be at Fusion and nobody was going to watch it. I was just going to get a paycheck.
Right.
So I did walk away from a lot of money, but I was selling tickets at the time.
So you're on the road on the
because
weekends?
of characters. I was on the time. And I made a good money there at the time. It's not the money that the podcaster is making now, but it was 6 figures, and it was the most money that year that I had made touring and doing that.
Oh, yeah.
So I just left. But the decision was not about money because I left a lot of money on the table. It was just like, I don't want to do this.
But I mean, yeah. Okay. So that's fascinating because I wondered how daunting that must have been to like, oh, Yannis is back. Like, did that feel heavy? Were you like, fuck, like I have to like do this again and like figure it out again?
Yeah, there was a little bit of that. Yeah, there was a little like, oh, I missed that money. That money was so good.
Oh, that's, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, I don't have that. And then I was like, am I going to have that again? And then I got a sports show on AOL when they were making content. And they were paying me the same as I was getting. So I was like, and then I took that.
Oh,
but then I felt like that was going nowhere, slowing down my career. And so luckily that only lasted that was 1 year. Each of those was 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
And every time you take one of those things, it takes your energy, your focus, and you're just you kind of make a trade, the money for stand-up.
Right.
Yeah.
And so was getting back in the mix here difficult, or like you now had enough clout that you could just like arrive back in New York and be like, hey, Patrick, hey, ST, and like be back on all the shows?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I had enough clout to, at that time I was, I had a little heat, so it was good. I had a tiny bit of heat. And then it was funny though. When I was down there, I started seeing like Phoebe Robinson's, like all these people. That's when podcasts. I was like, all these people are getting huge.
Oh yeah.
Pete Holmes had me as a guest on his live one at Gramercy Theater, and I was like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah.
And like it was packed, and people knew catch lines from his podcast, and I was like, what's happening here?
Yeah. Right.
And people starting to get big with podcasts.
And it's a funny thing because we started this one, 2019, and at that moment it felt like we had missed the boat. We had not. And thank God I started doing this. It's been amazing. It's changed my life for sure.
Yeah. We were a little late though.
Little late,
but
like,
not missed it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Didn't miss it. And
if you started this in 2011,
oh yeah,
I'd be walking in with a suit on.
That is fucking funny. Well, dude, I think about you a lot because there are like certain moments in my career where I'm like, who else has done something like this? And you are a person who will pop up. I'm like, oh, Yannis, like whether it be like doing character stuff and transitioning out of it and like how that, because to me that, and it's funny to hear you talk about it because to me, I'm like, that was a great decision. Because what's the end game there for him? I mean, sure, there's tons of content you can put out as characters, but I used to do like character shit. And
I
like,
love your character stuff.
Thank
That
you.
rapper.
Yeah. Thank you.
And I love the with the filter. He's my favorite.
Oh, the lips
that
guy.
dude
Yeah,
is
yeah.
great.
Thank
dude.
you, thank you.
You gotta
thank
do
you.
that more.
Yeah, thanks.
I think
I
I've
do.
messaged you about
Yeah,
that.
you
dude.
have.
That
No, I
dude is
appreciate-
so funny, dude.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I love that guy. He's like
Yeah.
a Miami guy. Like you see those people in like
I know, just
the
like
coastal
so,
cities.
yeah,
They're
so
just like,
Botox
fuck,
and lipped up.
Yeah.
Crazy looking.
Yeah.
But no, like, and I appreciate that. But like for the rapper, for example, like as things, and I was doing a lot of like,
some of those songs were actually good.
I
too.
appreciate it. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. That was sort of the point, which I do appreciate that. And as time went on, I'm like, what is my end goal here? I was doing a lot of like high concept shit, like live events that were like towing the line with reality. It was like satisfying, but I was like, oh, I've like gone too far away from like what people want. You know what I mean? So there's that. I made like a 360 virtual reality video that has like 400 views.
But how do you feel about it? when
I
you're
feel
doing
good about it.
Yeah,
And I
one of
feel-
those things will connect. I mean, you seem like a guy who's exploring his creative curiosities. You went to fucking Afghanistan. It's like, why the way he became a war journalist?
So anyway,
Yeah.
no, but that's true. I do that, and I can't not. So like sometimes I'm like, I just have to do this. That's
Yeah,
it.
it's
So
like my Twitter. I'm like, I shouldn't tweet this, but then I do.
that's
And then
become
people
my
tell
shit.
me, don't tweet this, and I tweet it again. Yeah. I get it, dude. I get it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes you just have your calling. But in doing like the travel based stuff, I hate saying it that way because it's like sounds cheap. I don't want to like cheapen it, but let's, for lack of a better term, travel based shit, whatever. Doing stuff as myself, I have felt has really helped my overall package and like selling tickets and like whatever. So I like that for myself. And I remember when I made that conscious choice, I was thinking about you because in my brain, yours was such a successful transition that I was like, it can be done. It should be done. And like, even if it takes me a second, like what's wrong with wanting to be yourself, dude? It was almost like didn't think that people would care if I was myself or something.
I know exactly what you're saying. It's sort of like you're exposing yourself as three-dimensional in a business where one-dimensionality, like being one-dimensional, it makes you more successful because
Totally.
people want to like you for one thing. They don't want to be confused by you.
Right.
People are constantly confused by me. They'll be like, what? You're the guy who
Sam.
does Marisa, but then you're fucking tweeting about the Middle East over here. They just don't know what to make of me.
Right.
And I'm constantly turning people off all the time. And I know I do it.
Oh, that's funny.
And but it's like who I am. So I'm like, I'm kind of a three-dimensional person in a business that requires you to be one-dimensional. There's a lot of comedians you can look up to who are kind of three-dimensional. They're not as stupid as me. They don't do stupid things. You know, they just talk about that shit privately. But you can look at guys who've gotten really good and it's taken them a longer time.
Right,
And they've
right.
explored a lot of these
They've done a bunch of
curiosities.
shit.
Like you can look at Louis and all those weird movies he was making
Right,
that
right.
didn't get popular and that weird kind of stand-up he was doing for a while that he wanted to do but didn't really connect. And then as he evolved and started talking about his family and stuff like that, it
Right.
really
He
connected.
found like a-
and I don't doubt that a lot of the chops he got from those unsuccessful things kind of
Right.
somehow
Yeah.
gave birth to that. So
Never a complete waste of time.
no,
right?
it's
You're
like
doing
David
something.
Foster Wallace said, dude, ironies abound when ironies do. Ironies abound as ironies do when cash and art do lunch. And you probably have the soul of an artist and you feel compelled to do something and you do it. You don't think about the marketplace. A lot of these guys now are brands.
Yeah, they're really
They're
good
like
at it.
Colgate. They're thinking about
It's
the
hard to
marketplace.
see. I'm like, fuck, that guy's so
Constantly.
clever.
Yeah. It's just constantly thinking about the marketplace and how it would be received. That's not art. It's advertising.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually art is the thing that advertising usually copies to and makes it sort of palatable. You know, they'll fucking take a John Lennon song, imagine all the people, and then it's like Saturn cars. And so, sometimes it takes a little longer, but all those things inform your journey on what will eventually connect, with a marketplace. So,
Right.
yeah, I mean, you're standing out. I can
Thank you,
see
thank
that. Like, yeah, I'm like 1 minute he's in Afghanistan, the next minute He's doing this.
Hello.
You know, you're like, dude, what's he gonna do next? I like it.
Thank you.
So you just got to find people like me, I guess, who want to tune in. Yeah,
I appreciate it. Dude.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's funny because it's so interesting. Like I am so, it's expensive to live here. I'm like constantly thinking about trying to pull my weight in my relationship, make money, like
Wait, which relationship? You guys dating?
No, not with
just
Ryan.
your
Sorry.
Oh,
My
okay.
Unfortunately,
fiance
no.
who's not here right
she's
now.
over there.
She's not in the room.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
at work. But
Wherever the
I am, of course, I am pulling my weight, but like, it's such a sort of delicate career that you're kind of worried all the time that like it's going to fall apart in some capacity, and riding the waves of it are difficult, whatever. But I don't know. I forget where I went with this. Sorry.
I guess you're saying you worry about.
Oh no. Okay. Sorry. I worry about money all the time, yet I refuse to make decisions that will guarantee that the money continues to come.
Yeah,
and I think that if I just like if I overwork, then it'll correct itself, and that may or may not be true. I guess we'll see. I'm trying.
Only thing I can say for sure is that's a tale as old as time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a tale as old as time. I mean, you're not the only one who. It just probably means you have a real genuineness about you. That's all I can say about that. And this isn't a genuine time. It is not a genuine time, my friend. I can tell you that right now. And people are not being genuine. So it's that when people get sick of that, that'll be probably a good time for a guy like you.
Yeah. Well, dude, I can't help but think about like Karl Marx stands out to me because like he wrote Communist Manifesto. It was like short, didn't take him that long to do, and it's his life's work basically, right? But he spent all his time writing this like 16-volume thing on economics that is just like widely discredited as like nonsense. He like completely ignored his family and like died poor with nothing to show for it, and like that is a tale as old as time too. And I just don't want that to be my tale, dude. I just don't want that to be my tale.
Well, at least most people who adhered to his stuff exclusively died like he died. So it was they all died poor.
Yeah, that's great.
It always seems like there's some guy at the top that's got a lot.
That's great.
And the people have a little.
In those moments when money isn't moving as fast as your dreams are, Earnin provides the financial momentum that you need to keep moving forward. Earnin is an app that gives you access to your pay as you work, up to $100 per day or up to $750 per pay period. Just download the Earnin app and verify your paycheck. Then access up to $100 a day as you work and leave an optional tip. Any money you access plus tips are automatically repaid from your next paycheck. Make Earnin a part of your financial routine and join Earnin's over 3.5 million customers who say things like, when I think about Earnin, I think about financial stability, security. It gives me a lot of peace of mind. Whether you got to buy a new dress for the big event, you got rent upcoming,
or you just want some new shoes.
You just want some new shoes, maybe. You got that money coming in, but it's going to be a couple of days. Earnin is there for you to access the money that you will earn eventually, or that you have already earned because you worked for it. So download Earnin today, spelled EARNIN, in the Google Play or Apple App Store. When you download the Earnin app, type in Oops under podcast when you sign up. It'll really help the show. That's Oops under podcast when you sign up. And it's subject to your available earnings, location, daily max, and pay period max. See earnin.com/TOS for details. That's pretty good the way I did it. You like that?
Earnin is a financial technology company, not a bank. Bank products are issued by Evolved Bank and Trust member FDIC.
That's pretty good. Give us a 6 out of 10 on the fast read. Anyway, guys, Earnin is where it's at. Get your money today. You earned it. You worked hard for it. Why not have it? Earnin, good spot, good app. Get in there. Real quick, I asked you about like some predictions for the upcoming year. So I want to hear a couple of your thoughts on some broad topics. You feel free to go as deep or as not into them because I'm always curious about what you think about stuff. And if there are other things that you specifically wanted to talk about, feel free to mention them. Yeah. But first of all, I want to AI.
Yeah.
First thing, and maybe that's it. AI. I don't know. What do you think? What comes to mind?
Speaking of 60 Minutes, there was the guy who basically created AI, the godfather, the grandfather, the father of AI, did an interview on 60 Minutes about how it operates and the dangers of it. Mm-hmm. So it's clearly dangerous. It's not only dangerous because it can outcompete humans. It's dangerous because it makes it impossible for us to tell what's real. We're not going to know what's real. You know, if I can go and look at a perfectly crafted AOC face on a Latin body and jerk off to it, you're going like, you ever go to those deep fakes? And you're like, holy shit.
That's crazy.
Check it out. Go to Mr. Deepfakes. It's wild, dude. You're like, that's AOC. They can make a video of Putin saying we're going to launch nukes, and like America would be like, oh my God, they're launching nukes, and it's
like Orson Welles.
It's really dangerous. It needs to be regulated. We're opening Pandora's box. For the first time, we've created something that is more intelligent than us, that is coded to think, which is wild. And when you hear him explain it, where he's like, and the scary part is he goes, we don't know how it does it. And I was like, wait, what? And this is all above my head, but he's like, it's these layers of code. And he's like, we don't know how AI does, we don't know how it does it. We just know that it does it. And he goes, eventually, certainly, it's going to learn to deceive us. It's going to figure out that that's part of human nature. It has all these books at its disposal that it, you know, you ever ask ChatGPT a question and it comes up like that?
Yeah.
It's because it's just synthesizing all this information from, and when it learns about Machiavelli and all these books about lying and deception, like it will eventually deceive us.
Right.
And you're going like, all right, that's a problem. So AI is a massive problem, and without regulation or control, much like nukes, it's dystopian to think about what's going to be. It's a major problem. Yeah.
And they're saying that the regulation is not like fast enough to like keep up with how quickly it's progressing.
They got to do something, man. Yeah. You know, I hate, you know, it's just, that's the thing with libertarians. Like, it just sounds so nice, but it's like, we do need an FDA. Like, these foods are poison.
Governing bodies
like
for things.
To think that people are able to make their own decisions. You're like, no, they're not. No, they're not. That's why advertisers manipulate us. Like, you can manipulate people.
Yes.
People are kind of manipulatable, even smart ones. It's like, you hack the brain in a certain way. It's like, you need regulation. There's evil people in the world. Poverty alone doesn't cause criminal behavior, or else Sam Bankman-Fried would have come from fucking Compton. I mean, he's just as much a criminal. He's worse.
Right.
Some people love to steal because it's fun, and they're assholes. And you gotta fucking regulate against these fucking maniacal fucks.
Yeah.
And AI is a maniacal fuck. You know, I'm not scared of it yet. I'm still scared of people. But AI's only been helpful to me. I'm like, what's this mean?
Right.
I'm like, well, that's very helpful.
Yeah, I hope that it ends up being like a net positive that no one could have ever imagined. Like, you know, hopefully, but to your point, it's too scary. And I read something that was reassuring.
Yeah.
That maybe will make everybody feel better. They were saying that like, sure, AI could like outsmart us and do fucked up things, but like certain like large scale things, the AI would have to like plan it over time and like couldn't just like do everything sitting there.
So we'd be able to know what they're up to.
It would potentially require some fooling that we maybe don't even know about yet, because once it gets to that level where it is that much more intelligent than us, then we won't even see it coming.
Right.
But that like it would require certain like physical presence that AI does not necessarily have.
Yeah, I hope
so. That's interesting.
Yeah, I hope so. AI does kind of feel like a chick that you fall in love with and the sex is great and you're like just blinded, but you don't see that she's like using you.
Right.
You know those types of
You're like
relationships?
an old rich dude who's like, I'm just youthful.
Yeah. She's with me for me.
Yeah.
I don't know
I'm a charming guy, you know.
Yeah. I don't know about that
I don't know,
fat
dude.
60-year-old rich guy.
If you want to feel terrible about yourself after this conversation, the movie Ex Machina is great.
I love that movie,
It's
man.
so good.
So
it's ahead of its
underrated.
time.
Yeah.
It's really fucking good and will
So
make you
good.
feel terrible.
And spooky, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Next two prediction topics. President. Who's he going to be?
Trump.
100%?
He's winning. Yeah, I mean, look at his polling right now.
Yeah.
I mean, this issue in the Middle East has really catapulted him, I think, even further.
Yeah, it like backfired on Biden a little bit where he thought it wasn't going to.
And I think there's just a lot of people on the left, you know, because the elections are won with moderates. They're not won with the left and right? It's always swing states that are purple. Everyone knows how Texas is going to vote. Everyone knows how California is going to vote. Everyone knows how it's these swing states that are purple. And so moderates and independent voters really determine elections. And I think there's a lot of people who are center left who are doing that thing, going like privately, going like, you know, enough. Like they're going like, okay, I've seen a lot of protests in the last 4 years and just make it go away. Don't tell anybody I said that. You know, they're just doing one of those like, yeah, I'm just going to vote for him, but don't tell anyone I voted that way.
Which is a normal thing. Like that is why things go back and forth historically.
So I think you're going to see President Trump, and I think it's going to be the country's going to take a hard turn to the right.
Okay.
I think that's what the polling seems to be right now. I mean, the last poll I saw, it was like Biden. It was like Trump was shooting up and Biden was shooting down.
Interesting.
So I mean, this Hunter Biden stuff is hurting him, as well as it just like, I mean, the guy's like a Atlanta rapper. He's got a gun charge. He impregnated a stripper. I mean, it's like drop an album.
He's a cowboy, dude.
Yeah.
Drop an album. Okay, final one. I'm curious about. If you think there will be any escalation, China and Taiwan in 2024?
No, I don't. I think it was very. I think the last meeting with Biden and Xi was like that was some good news. That they were like, "Hey, man, we gotta cooperate a little bit economically." And their economy's not doing great. Their economy's dependent on us. We're dependent on them. For right now, that there's some sort of a, war makes for strange bedfellows. Some sort of like. Doing business together but hate each other kind of thing that I think is taking is going to take precedent for at least the foreseeable future. We're starting to make chips other places, so if they take Taiwan, maybe we'll let them. Hopefully, we'll let them. But I think Taiwan, it's not just about the chips being made there. I think it's a strategic outpost for our influence in South China Sea. It's sort of like the American Empire's Constantinople. It's like what DC is to Rome, Taiwan is to Constantinople. We just are in that sphere. It's an outpost for us. It's an ally for us. And we don't want China having complete control of the South China Sea. So they know that. Right now, I think it's just a deterrent. They just the talk is all tough.
Yeah.
A great book about this is one of the best books is The Crisis Years by Mark Beschloss, about the back channel negotiations between Russian ambassadors and RFK, and it was all talk about like, hey man, we gotta chill.
Right.
Now, let's figure out a way to chill.
Off the record, let's chill.
Off the record, and acknowledging that both presidents couldn't talk that way.
Right.
Because they had to save face with their people. It's the enemy. But they're going, hey, but privately, he's empowering me. My brother's saying, we got to fucking chill. And the Russians were going, Khrushchev wants to fucking chill too. So those things always happened. The good thing about the selfish nature of man is like, if people know that they're going to extinguish themselves in any attack, let's chill, man. Everyone's rich, everyone's making money. Let's figure out a way to circumvent this privately. So you just hope that shit is happening. I'm sure it is. And you just cross your fucking fingers, man. Because the thing that you see on the TV, like we know in our business, is not always the way the person is. People portray, it's all wrestling, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
So in a lot of ways, it's like wrestling. So you hope the real people are fucking talking a little more chill when they meet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, if that happens, dude. If that happens and NATO sticks to its word, what the fuck?
Yeah.
We're fucked.
Yeah.
We're fucked. If any of this shit spills over, right? So now the Houthis or whatever they're called, they're attacking these ships. Yeah, that are funded by Yemen, and you're going like, and Israel's going, America, deal with that, or we're going to deal with it. You're like, fuck, we can't. Like, fuck.
Right.
If another country gets involved, that's when the domino effect starts. It's all it's a nervous time. This is worse than the Cold War, and I grew up during that. I was a kid, so I wasn't that affected, but you didn't feel this kind of like, you didn't feel, back then it was new. So you could understand, might accept the fact that people were like flirting with the idea of nuclear powers going to war.
But it was also sort of like in the decline when you were growing up, right? It wasn't like the 50s. When that was like the height. That like hiding under desks.
It was decline too. So there was some hope that you're right. You're absolutely right. So there was a little bit there. Yeah, this feels like it's on the come up again. And you're going like, but there's a lot more nuclear powers now. I'm more worried about fucking India and Pakistan. Because they're like India's kind of first world, but also kind of third world. Pakistan is just like, fucking let's go. They're just a country of like, fucking cut head. And so you're going like, and they hate each other. Their fucking civil war was brutal and they hate each other. So and they have this fucking territorial dispute of Kashmir. And you're going like, dude, please don't, guys.
The thing that makes it feel more kind of like scary in general to me, like AI being scary, like all these things being scary that haven't happened. Nothing like the pandemic happened anywhere near my lifetime. So the fact that that actually happened makes things seem possible.
Yeah, that's something bad
to
like
me.
That happened. Yeah,
and I try to talk through that. I'm like, okay, because to your point, like, you know, there's always some dispute. There's always people fucking threatening to do shit, and like they're usually talking to save face, like you said. So I feel better on that, but I famously have undersold every like shitty thing that's happened recently. Like I prominently on this show was like, pandemic's gonna be nothing. It's gonna be like swine flu. Like every time something bad does happen, I said it wasn't gonna be bad, but 97% of the time, bad things don't happen. So I'm right usually,
right.
But they only remember the L's that have taken. So hopefully, all this stuff will be the same.
Well, for your mental health, don't change that.
No. I feel more at peace than most of my friends. Hopefully.
Tank's good news.
Tank's good news.
There's, especially this person who just found a ball. And it's going to make you feel, it's going to hit your oxytocin in a way that you didn't fucking know was possible.
It's going to be beautiful. There is good stuff happening out there. Yannis Pappas, thank you for coming on the show. Where can we see you, find you, all that stuff?
Yes. Go to my website, YannisPappasComedy.com for tour dates. Portland and Vancouver. I'm doing just one shows, theater shows. So there's a lot of tickets. I need to sell them. And I'll be in Miami, all these cities that I'll be in. Just go there and listen to my podcast, The Yannis Pappas Hour. You can find it on YouTube or whatever.
Sweet.
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you for coming through, bro.
Thank you, bro. This was fun.
Good. I'm glad you had fun.
I'm glad I did it. It was a lot of fun.
Great to get you here. That is all. You know us. HoopsPodcast.com. At Ryan is really polite. At Not Julio. Buy merch. Whatever.
But
Love you all.
You are Julio.
Merry Christmas.